Man, what a day. Ooh, I gotta wait a couple weeks before I say it out loud. Oh, shoot. I even forgot about this. I will be 40 next week.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Oh. I forgot you're like almost a Christmas baby. Oh my gosh.
Yes, I'll be 40 next week. This is probably already shaping up to be one of the best birthdays ever. I'm gonna probably
That needs a sound bar. Some applause.
I hit the applause. You know you can't hear the sound effects.
Oh, that's right.
You know I'm gonna hit the applause for myself. I'm probably gonna do like a self-reflective quick hit on social media or something for my birthday. And just to let y'all know, I'm not doing nothing big. I know normally, if my life wasn't where it currently is, I would have taken a trip or done something big, because I mean 40 is a big milestone, but it's probably gonna be 41 when I do it. But something I'll share in a couple weeks did happen. Great for me. That for me serves as a great gift. Also, I got it in Black Friday. I really got what I wanted. When I say I got what I wanted, you know, I have a list of things, and everything I wanted, and by the grace of God, everything I wanted had a steep discount, which was dope. And there is a couple things that didn't have steep discounts, but you know, when you Google, hey, coupons for such and such website, and you try that one, and you get 20% off because somebody probably at that website that works there forgot to change something on the back end. Too late, got it. Sometimes I'll be ordering two when they do that. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good on birthday gifts for me. So if you're listening to this ahead of my birthday, which I may or may not record that week, who knows? Yeah, that's it. All I can say is this: support me, or if you want to get me a gift, you can go to fmepodcast.com and donate to the podcast. You can listen and share the podcast. Hey, share your favorite episode. Share it on your social media. That'd be super dope. Follow us at FME_podcast. Definitely download and utilize from my experience. Download and utilize Pass the Peaz App. That's all I can ask for. Like, support is like the greatest thing. Growing the numbers, because we are promoting positivity, number one, on this podcast. Exciting news about a possible upcoming guest. Woo woo! Out of nowhere, once again, right?
Yeah.
Not you shimmying. And then
I'll be damned.
Possible big guest. And of course, with Pass the Peaz, you know, we're trying to get people to keep those family recipes alive through the legacy of those recipes. You know, we can download Pass the Peaz app, upload your recipes, and add video to each step. We definitely want y'all to continue to do that and join the community. I got some good stuff on there. My famous shrimp salad recipe is on there. It is absolutely delicious. Don't do like me. I made too much. I ate about 5 helpings of it, and I was done. And I'm mad because I had a good 3 servings left over, but I like, this got to go in the trash. It's too much. But I digress. So if you're hearing this and there's no birthday episode for my birthday, please listen to the podcast, share the podcast. You can donate at fmepodcast.com, and follow us on social media, FME_podcast. Follow us on Facebook, From My Experience Podcast. Download and utilize Pass the Peaz app. And of course, you know, comment on the birthday post. That's all I really want. You don't need to buy me nothing. I got it all, okay? Because God was good to me. All right. Man. How are you doing, Erica?
I'm tired, but you know, we still moving along. I'm drinking a cup of coffee to put me to sleep after this because, you know, I have like the opposite reaction to things. But I'm just glad that we're closer to the weekend.
I'll be damned.
I'm with you. I'm with you. She tired and she drinking coffee to go to sleep is crazy. And I had an energy drink today. I needed it because the training I'm doing is boring. But
Which energy drinks? Which one?
I had a Red Bull. Red Bull has a newer flavor to me. It's like a citrus one. It's in the green and silver can. It tastes really good actually. But I sat and read the ingredients, and I was like, yeah, I need to only do this maybe once a month. And this is probably my second one this month. I got to stop that. I got to start doing it the right way by going to bed early and not relying on that stuff, which I don't. Every now and again I do it, but I was struggling today. So
yeah, because I drink energy drinks instead of coffee 3 days out the week. When I'm going into the office because I just don't care to like do coffee and also it stains your tea. So I'd rather just drink it like after I've already woken up for the day, things like that. And also just quit the habit of drinking it as soon as I wake up and drink like water or something else to like help wake me up. Um, and I was drinking Celsius and then I don't know why I had like, let me go ahead and like Google, is Celsius good for you? Like while I'm at work. And they're
No.
just like, well, they have a couple of things. And I'm like, okay. I was like, all right. And so I do drink that. And then I realized Red Bull's probably the best bet
That's the scary thing.
for caffeine. Yeah, because Celsius has 200 milligrams of caffeine per can. Red Bull has about like 80, 90 or so. So it's around the same amount as a cup of coffee. And then I think I drank a Ghost energy drink, and that thing was huge, and it was cherry limeade. And it's mostly like supposed to be like almost like a pre-workout drink too. And I drank that on Sunday, and I was like, man, this is great. And then I kept like jittering and shaking. I was like, this is great. Like the way that I was like walking around the gym, like strong arm and everything, feeling like I was like a little Hulk. And then I flipped over the can, and it said that it was 200 milligrams, and it said, do not take more than one.
Yo, America is nuts. They will let them give us anything. My coworker said today, Google this yourself. He said there's 10,400 ingredients that we use in America, and in Europe, of those 10,400, 10,000 are banned.
Yeah, like it's crazy because I know that a lot of people like to bring this up when they go like over to like Europe or anything like that for vacation. They're like, how is it we eat so much more when we're in Europe, but we lose weight? And I'm like, well, that's also the great thing is that I don't know, like the regulations for a lot of things are different in other countries. And people are also saying like they have like a gluten intolerance in the United States, but then they go overseas and it seems to like magically clear it up and everything else. And I'm like, I said, well, the US, where we care all about the money for some reason, and how to get people to keep buying stuff rather than the health and welfare of citizens. So
the health and welfare of who?
That, and because there's so many like walkable cities. Here, they're just like, why would you want to walk? We want you to get a car so that you could pay for a car note. Then we want you to pay for gas. Then we want you to pay for car insurance. And then we want you to pay for tires and but drive like 5 minutes away.
Don't get me. I'm going to start that.
They're not really friendly.
They're not. I'm going to start the episode on that note. Yeah, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Rob, host of From My Experience podcast. Obviously, I got the co-hostess with the mostest, Erica, with me. Man,
hello.
I like that. You got to do that every episode now. Man, it has been a week already. Christmas is around the corner. Have you purchased Christmas gifts? Are they wrapped? Are they hidden?
No.
I still have to get a couple. Nothing major, nothing crazy, man, but yeah, man, I hope y'all been taking care of yourselves physically, mentally, and financially since the last episode, man. Self-love and self-care is important. We're going to get into a couple of things today, man. Lock in, y'all. Lock in, lock in, lock in, lock in, lock in.
I'm giving out hugs for Christmas.
That's a good idea.
Swiping my card.
Oh, God. If you didn't hear that, Erica said she's giving out hugs for Christmas. That's crazy work, yo. Wait a minute.
I'm tired of swiping my card. I'm be like, Merry Christmas. Here's this empty bag. You get a hug. You get a hug.
You ain't right.
Y'all all get a hug. A group hug.
Yo, not a group hug. They can't even get individual hugs.
No, just bring it in. Thank you. And everybody's going to get a group hug and a little pat on the back. It'll be timed for maybe 15 seconds. And I say, all right, there you go. Thank you. Unhand me.
And then unhand you? Wow. Really? Wow. I don't even know what to say to you. We're gonna get to these headlines. Fair warning.
Dun dun dun.
Actually, there's a couple positive ones in my opinion, and we're probably just gonna discuss them in a little bit greater. That's probably what this episode is gonna hinge on, is a couple of these headlines, because it's interesting, and we're gonna, we should talk about morals and values. You should do people know about the CEO that was assassinated. Yeah, I kind of want to touch on people's. Why are you laughing?
No, because I have seen this I'm not laughing at the fact that he's no longer with us. It's because I have seen this be a topic where people are like, it's a good discussion to bring up.
It is.
Especially revolving around CEO and healthcare.
It is. Dang it. And I said I was going to share something on here. Oh, I got it. I remember. All right, let me hit your headline music. Where's the button? All right, music is playing. You're on.
Dun dun dun. Okay, so we all know about the CEO of United Healthcare, who unfortunately was attacked and killed last week. And we have 26-year-old Luigi Mangione was identified, arrested, and charged with second-degree murder as the prime suspect in the targeted shooting. And the CEO was Brian Thompson, who was 50 years old. And you can see in the video, Mangione was hidden between two parked cars and walked up behind him with a 3D printed gun and a silencer and attacked him at 6:30 in the morning in New York while he was on his way to work. And there's been a lot of speculation and also reports saying that Mangione has come from a privileged and wealthy family. He attended an all-boys school, private school in Baltimore. But also he's been estranged from his family for some months now. And there are associated reports of him being disgruntled after dealing with a spinal injury. And I believe it was from wrestling. So he was captured after a 5-day manhunt for him in Pennsylvania by being identified in a McDonald's. And also, what else was it?
I'll be damned.
He escaped through Central Park, where he left a book bag full of Monopoly money. And also the bullets were engraved from, I forgot what the name of it was, but the bullets were engraved basically showing his, I don't know how to word this, his anger with the healthcare. So we will circle back to that after the headlines. Another headline, rapper Quando Rondo was sentenced to federal prison today after pleading guilty to federal drug offenses in Georgia. He pleaded guilty in August to a single count of conspiracy to possess and distribute marijuana. But
I'll be damned.
The prosecutors agreed to drop the additional criminal counts in a December indictment. And they charged him with conspiring with others to possess and distribute drugs, including meth, fentanyl, cocaine, and marijuana. So, yeah.
Distribute what? Wait. He distribute what?
Meth.
I'll be damned.
Fentanyl.
I'll be damned.
Cocaine.
I'll be damned.
And marijuana.
I'll be damned.
Another upcoming court case lawsuit. Jay-Z. So he has come out to say that this alleged rape allegation has been made against him as part of an extortion attempt. So a woman who previously sued Sean Diddy Combs is alleging that she was also raped by Jay-Z at an awards show after party in 2000 when she was 13 years old. The lawsuit came about on Sunday, and Jay-Z was at the party, and he participated in the sexual assault along with another male celebrity. He has called the allegations idiotic and heinous in nature, especially in a statement released by Rock Nation, which is one of his companies. And he also revealed that he had anonymously sued the woman's lawyer last month, alleging that they were trying to blackmail him by trying to make the rape allegation public if they didn't agree to a legal settlement. So Jay-Z's attorney has also filed court paperwork on Monday asking the judge to require his accuser to identify herself rather than being Jane Doe if she wants to continue the lawsuit, which has caused a lot of uproar on social media from what I've seen, where people just don't necessarily agree with that. And maybe we could touch on this more with like morals and values.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. And they're trying to say that Mr. Carter deserves to know the identity of the person who is effectively accusing him. And they're saying that it's sensationalized, it's publicity hunting, and demanding massive financial compensation. And I will also add that NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says that the rape allegation against Jay-Z will not impact the NFL's relationship with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's an allegation, so.
Yeah, so there's that. So on to courts. Oh my gosh, there's so many court things going on. A federal appeals court panel on Friday unanimously upheld a law that could lead to the ban on TikTok. I think it's approaching really quickly because it's January. January is next month. Basically, if the social media platform is trying to fight for its survival in the US, if it does not want to sell to a US company. So we will probably be seeing TikTok go away. So speaking of social media, teenagers across Florida will be kicked off of social media starting January 1, 2025. It's a new law banning kids under the age of 16 from having social media accounts. And this law allows parents to give their children and social media companies permission if they are 14 or 15 years old. So I have been seeing this. I have been seeing some social media apps basically doing this, like Instagram. I don't know if you've been seeing the commercials where they have introduced Instagram accounts for teenagers. Where
I heard about that.
Yeah, where the parents make the account for you and you get parental controls over their account and they can't do anything really. And I don't know, I feel like I have mixed feelings about this, where I see both sides of the fence with this in particular. So I'm not too sure what to say, but it basically it stops them from seeing any type of content that they're not supposed to see that's not age appropriate. It's supposed to prevent them from predators online, from talking to strangers, anything of that nature, where the only people that they should be interacting with are their peers. But people have been coming out the woodwork saying that this is one of the most restrictive laws out there right now. And Attorney General Ashley Moody has agreed that she will not enforce the new law while the challenge is being played out in court. And a hearing in federal court over this law is scheduled for February 28th. Several other states have tried to pass similar laws, but they were struck down in court. So curious to see what the turnout is when this does go into effect. If we see good, bad, pros, cons, whatever. That's all I got. Oh, no, I don't. Sorry. Woo, so sorry.
I'll be damned.
So we also want to spread our condolences and say rest in peace to Nikki Giovanni. She was a poet, author, professor who wrote about not only race, but politics, gender, sex, love. She unfortunately passed away Monday, and she was 81 years old, and it was caused with complications of lung cancer. So we definitely did lose a great one, and hope that she rests in peace.
She's also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Got to show my Divine Nine sisters some love. Can't leave that out because I get beat up.
See? Okay, that's all I got now. Okay, he's looking at me crazy, y'all.
Quincy.
Quincy. So would like to say rest in peace to Quincy Jones. Um, he did pass away a couple weeks ago, but we haven't had the time to actually be able to say this on the podcast. But a big mogul in the music industry. Like, I can't think of anything that he hasn't touched. You know, just it's I don't know. It's just crazy to see like some of the greats go.
Yeah.
But also knowing that their impact was out of this world. Like, I feel like he's opened so many doors because he dabbled in everything.
Yeah.
So, and then also just seeing his kids, I'm like, the legacy that he's provided to his kids, it's crazy.
Yeah, that was a tough one, man. That was a tough one.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was in his 90s.
Full life. You got to see a lot.
Yeah. Like, saw Michael through and through. He worked with like everyone.
He did.
So, those are your headlines, y'all.
Yay. Oh man. Crazy headlines. We're actually
We're
gonna talk about morals and values here, y'all. That's that. So it's gonna be based around the headlines. I really just have thoughts around all three. So the three main ones, the social media ban, the Jay-Z accusation, and the murder of the CEO of United Healthcare. Where do you want to begin?
I kind of want to begin with I kind of might want to begin with the CEO.
Right.
Because I also forgot to mention that after this happened, a lot of companies ended up taking down the postings of their staff and their high-ranking officials on their websites because they felt like this was targeted and they wanted to prevent that from happening or for it to start basically in effect.
Yeah. I'll say this, right? Number one, the people who sensationalize and glorify this man and put him on the pedestal for what he did, y'all need help. I heard that there were trends going around about, oh, he's so handsome and he's a hero and blah, blah, blah. Absolutely not. Yes, our healthcare system has very deep issues that need to be fixed. There are people out there who cannot get the health care that they need because their claims are being denied. However, I don't know the CEO personally. Never heard of him before he got murdered. Haven't heard of any heinous acts or policies he's put in place. But
he didn't even live in New York.
Yeah, but for someone to kill you because of the organization you work for, when whatever the organization may or may not be adhering, there's no way for us to know that they're adhering, that they're denying people strictly because of him. Like, I'm sure that there's votes and policies and boards, but to be killed for working somewhere, in particular, where someone doesn't agree with the practices or your practices aren't good, is demonic. Like, where the problem with championing people like that is, where does it end? So now if someone doesn't like a store policy, you go kill someone in the store because the store is doing people wrong. Like we're so desensitized. So now you killed this man, 50 years young, because
had a whole wife, kids.
Right, because of what happened to you personally with this company, right? But it's like, number one, it's not going to change anything. Like, you killed him, you're probably going to be locked up for the rest of your life. His family is without him, and the company is going to continue to move forward business as usual. That's not how you fix things. Yeah, it's going to bring attention to it, but not the right kind of attention, and that's just not a way to resolve that type of issue. How to fix it, I don't know. I know murder. I can tell you what not to do. Murdering the CEO is not what you want to do. That's just wild, man. And people championing it, and people thinking like, he deserved it. Like, how do y'all know this? Like, no one has any research or anything, and who are we to judge to say when someone should or should not die or be murdered murdered on the street? Like, that's just like, that's so creepy to me, because I'm seeing with these two stories, I'm seeing a trend. Oftentimes, people who are wealthy are demonized for whatever reason. Everyone wants to see the worst in them. Something has to be wrong with them. They had to have done something evil or devious. They couldn't have worked hard. They couldn't have got lucky and win the lottery or nothing. They're always demonized. And there is a huge lack of empathy for them, because people seem to believe or think that when you are wealthy, you just don't have any problems. No, being wealthy, if you budget well, and this is someone who's not wealthy talking, the only thing I can think of, guaranteed, if I'm wealthy, that goes away. If I know how to manage my money, I should not have any financial issues. But that doesn't mean I don't experience depression, happiness, sadness, hurt, sorrow, love, heartbreak, stress, anxiety. They have their own world of pressure. I mean, we're still human beings at the end of the day, regardless of our socioeconomic status. So demonizing someone or targeting someone because of where they work, or having a lack of empathy of someone, or thinking that they're automatically evil because of what they've accomplished or achieved in life, that says a lot about you as a person. And I'm not championing or defending them, because I don't know celebrities. I haven't even, have I met a celebrity? Probably so. But they're, at the end of the day, and I've said this ain't nothing new, we're still all human beings. Like, we're all human beings, and that's just crazy. But I digress. Go ahead, Erica.
I definitely understand being upset with the healthcare system and how it operates in the United States. I do, truly. I think it definitely needs to be revamped. It needs to work in favor of the people who are paying into it more than anything, because if we're paying health insurance and we're paying for our welfare and everything like that, the least you could do is make the policies better for us. That's all that we're asking for. However, I can't wrap my mind around attacking someone who, I feel like attacking someone who's almost considered a pawn in the game with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you're upset with the system, not the people who work in there, because at the end of the day, we all have to pay bills. Yeah. We all have to have jobs. And I know that this sucks that we live in a capitalistic society and a system, but like, we have to. We don't have the ability to, because of the way that things are set up, we do not have the ability to do a protest, to revolt, to riot, to do anything like that, because at the end of the day, we have stuff looking at us and depending on us. Because you could go out there and protest, revolt, all of that if you want, but at the end of the day, there's still bills that have to be paid. There still needs to be a roof over your head. Like, and that's why I just don't understand the point of targeting the people when they're just trying to survive just like you and I. I think of a lot of the DMV area. It's a lot of DOD, DOJ, a lot of that, a lot of agencies. And I just can't wrap my head around attacking someone who works there because you're mad at the agency. They don't have a choice. I mean, yeah, they could work somewhere that is non-DOD, but there's not a lot of options, especially in the area that you live in and everything like that. I just don't feel like targeting the people who are just the equivalent of a pawn like you just isn't worth it. And you're 26, and yes, you brought the attention to it, but no one's gonna look at it in the lens that you want them to and decide, maybe that kid was right. Maybe we should look into our policies and change some things. No, like, now they're like, we're not going to look at anything. You attacked like one of our people. Why would we even do that? So I don't think it gave him, and all just messy, and I just don't agree with that.
And to the point I made about wealthy people, look at the guy who committed the crime.
Yeah.
Look at his background, his pedigree, where he came from. I think he was like, he had an engineering degree or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well educated, wealthy
Ivy
family,
League.
Ivy League, connected family.
Mm-hmm.
Still, clearly, you're estranged from the family. There's issues there. There's issues there. I mean, the epitome, from the outside looking in, just the details that have come out, there's a lot of privilege over there.
A lot.
A lot. But if you watch TV shows and movies like we do, you see kind of the stereotypical things that come along with, oh, you're part of the family. You need to go down this quote unquote path. Maybe he was rebellious. We don't know. But again, to my point, people on the outside looking in and think just because your family has money or whatnot, or you live a certain lifestyle, or it looks like you live a certain lifestyle, you have no problems. Like, this was a deeply angered and disgruntled person who decided to take somebody's life over something that happened to them. But yeah, man, just think about that, man. Think about your reaction to things, you know, and think about your own family. You know, would you want someone to murder someone in your family because they work for an organization and you had an issue with them? So, and what disappoints me about America's healthcare system the most is there's a lot of places that have free healthcare and better healthcare than us, yet we're supposed to be the richest and most powerful place. That's just problematic, and it needs to be taken care of. Shout out to President Barack Obama for the Affordable Health Care Act. I've heard that has helped millions upon millions of people, and I hope that it remains. And I hope that more progress towards things like that happen. And if you are someone who has suffered at the hands of a medical company, my prayers go out to you. That hasn't happened to me, and to my knowledge, that hasn't happened to anyone that I know and love. But I can only imagine you constantly and consistently paying for insurance, and then when it's time to use the insurance, they tell you no, especially if it's something that could save your life or something that's needed to save your life. I could definitely understand being pissed off and upset. That's just ridiculous. That definitely needs, if it's a life saving procedure, there should be no denial, in my opinion. Like, absolutely. It's literally life or death.
That happened with my mom when she had breast cancer. She was triple positive, so it was like the most aggressive form of breast cancer. And so she had to do radiation, she had to do the surgery, and she had to do something else. And insurance would not pay for her last round of radiation.
Wow.
They said that she didn't need it. So she had to come out of pocket. And she had, I think it was probably like $200K worth. Oh, because it was radiation chemotherapy, and she had to do multiple rounds of them, especially before the surgery and after the surgery. And I think it was almost like $200K worth of medical bills. And health insurance was giving her the runaround for it. And they were just adamant about not paying for all of the treatment, saying that she didn't need it. And it's like, no, she needs it just to make sure it's not going to come back. And also she paid on that for years and years, and it just seemed like it was never like moving or anything like that.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah, I was like, that's like practically buying a whole nother house. And also, when she even got her mammogram, the health insurance only covered the regular mammogram. She ended up getting a 3D mammogram because accidentally checked off one of the boxes, and that was the only way that she was able to realize that that was the only way that they were able to detect the early form cancer. Was the 3D mammogram that insurance wouldn't pay for, that she had to pay out of pocket.
Jesus, hold on.
So
I'll be damned. I'll be damned.
The system is broken and needs to be fixed, y'all. Good God.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm glad she checked that box.
Yeah, and she paid the $50 out of pocket for it, and that's how she found out she had breast cancer. Jeez. But if she just did the regular insurance one, she probably wouldn't have known for like another year, where it would have already progressed into like stage 2 or stage 3.
I don't even want pod no more. Damn. Well, more details to come. I'm glad your mom ended up getting the help she needed. Ooh, 200,000. Ooh, gave me heartburn.
Yeah.
Fix it. President-elect Trump, fix it. Okay. Let's save the TikTok thing for the end.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna beef.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, the Jay-Z thing, right? It's interesting. So, number one, for those of you who don't know, you can sue anybody for anything at any time.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they're guilty, right? But we know that perception is a powerful tool and a powerful weapon these days. Apparently, this attorney who's bringing this lawsuit is known for doing so. And I've said this years ago because I heard it from Whoopi Goldberg years ago. She said a lot of times celebrities will settle out of court because it costs more to fight it and they just don't want the negative press and publicity. So a lot of times people will settle and people think, oh, you settled, you're guilty. No, I'm saving my time and my money. I may be able to settle with you for $10,000, $15,000, but to fight you and to get you to go away may cost me $50,000 or $60,000, right? Well, Jay-Z's a billionaire. I would hope that, we don't know what's true, what's not true. It sounds very far-fetched. There's a lot of questions surrounding it. You 13 your parents don't know that you're there. You're 13 at the VMAs, and then you go to an after party and allegedly it was Diddy and Jay-Z were taking turns with her, and there's another woman celebrity that was watching, and she was apparently woozy or something like that. And when she came
after taking a drink,
it was a weird story. And we don't know what's true, but the timing is interesting. Social media is trying to demonize Jay-Z, of course. Again, don't know the man. Never met the man, but I'm not going to automatically assume that he's guilty just because an allegation comes out. People have talked shit about y'all from middle school to high school to college. Think about how you felt. So I would just say this about him, and he made a good point. Like, why not file criminal charges? Why are you filing civil charges? That's a criminal act. Shouldn't he go to prison? But revealing yourself, I've done no research, so I see both sides of the coin. It's not fair. That's like you doing something, right? Or you doing a job, and someone does a survey about you, and that survey gets put on the news.
Yeah,
but it's anonymous, so someone can accuse you of these heinous things, right? But you don't get to even know who they are to try to prove or disprove. So now your life and your image is in the court of public opinion, which we know can damn someone, but the accuser gets to hide. Why not make it an even playing field? Because we know when people's names get out there, what do? People get on social media and get the digging, okay? But I also see the flip side of it, which is typically it's someone who's not as rich, not as powerful, and whose life can easily be torn apart, threatened. Like, there's a lot of danger with that because you can't hire security. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's also to protect the alleged victim. But I don't think it's fair to be able to publicly come out and demonize someone and accuse them of something, and you get to hide behind it either. It's and if this dude is grifting and just trying to get money for a settlement, it's nasty work, especially off the backs of people who were alleged victims during this time period. Because there are people out here who have really been through trauma and they never got the justice that they deserve. So if this is not true, of course, that's nasty, and that's a slap in the face to those people.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you with seeing the flip side of it, where I understand if someone's accusing me of heinous things and I'm the one who's basically on this big flat screen TV with my face all over it, like, yeah, I'm gonna feel like, okay, well, can I at least know who's like accusing me of this? Because it's like my brand, my integrity, everything basically is done for, and I have no idea how to reconcile this with someone, and I just would like to like see, like, who is this? Is this true? I would like to be able to put a face to a name to an accuser. But also I think of the court cases with Charles Manson and Evan Rachel Wood, where he turned around and sued her. Um, he turned around and sued her for, I want to say, all of her allegations against him for abuse and sexual assault and everything like that. And she's a celebrity. And he turned around and sued her for it. And then people were saying that it was the same thing that was going to happen in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, where she lost the court case and Depp can easily turn around and sue her for everything, practically. Say what it was, libel, it was defamation. Like, my career took a hit because of your allegations. So I definitely understand why the accuser does not want to show face and wants to stay anonymous for that specific reason. Because if you don't come from a wealthy background, or if you don't have the money, who's to say that they won't turn around and sue you after everything's said and done, you know? So I don't know. I don't know. I hope it's not like an attempt to get money, but I also hope that it wasn't like an assault that took place at the same time, because there's just so much going on in the music industry right now where it's hard to look at people if this is not even if it's hard to look at people, but it'd be disheartening if it was true. I'll say that, because Jay-Z is a father of 2 daughters.
That part.
So that, and also people have already had speculation into his relationship with Beyonce. So I would hope not, because you are a family man and you have your family right here with you. And I feel like that's a big blow to them to see you in that type of light if this is true. So that's all I have to say.
You know, I'll end my discussion on this with I'm gonna say some final thoughts, that I'm gonna end on something that I'm gonna start doing moving forward. First of all, I'm gonna say a very special prayer tonight for just everyone involved. You know, I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it. More money, more problems. I'll just leave it at that. Damn, can't even reference things now. More money or more problems. Nobody cares about the apology. Nobody cares about the truth. As Charlemagne the God says, nobody cares about the truth when the lie is more entertaining. We don't know that this is a lie, but that's what I'm saying. If it turns out to be a lie, nobody's going to care. People are actually going to be mad, because people are literally waiting on the downfall.
Of everyone. Yeah.
Everyone. I hate that we see that so much in the black community too. It's like if you are out there type of celebrity, the fault just has to be there. And it's crazy that we do that. We just and I feel for the kids, you know. Again, that lack of empathy, because look at who your parents are, look at how much money they have, you shouldn't have any problems. How often do you think they get to see and spend time with these parents who are worldwide superstars? And what type of upbringing do you think they're having? Again, empathy. They're still children, young children, because they got 3? They have the twins, and then they have Blue Ivy, and and I mean, Blue Ivy she's in the new Lion King movie. She's voice acting it. This happens right before the premiere. So now they're out as a family, and people got jokes because they're out as a family. This is probably a dream come true for this young lady, because I mean, obviously she had to work and earn this role. And look at what it's being
gorgeous.
And look
on the red carpet.
Yeah. And look at what it's being surrounded by. And again, don't know these people. These people don't owe me a dime. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, these are still people. They just happen to have a lot of money for the work that they put in. Like, Jay-Z and Beyonce are talented. Jay-Z was a rapper and a businessman who earned the money he has. Beyonce is a singer, entertainer who's earned the money she has. They didn't wake up super duper rich like they are now. But Yeah. I feel for the kids, and that's got to be a disheartening conversation to have when you're plastered all over the news being accused of something like that, and you got to sit your kids down and have this type of conversation, and just imagine the ridicule or what if they even, I don't even know if they have social media, but just what their friends are saying, what, you know what I'm saying, like just having to deal with that. So I'll say this, on a personal level, ladies and gentlemen, one thing that I've started doing before we get into this last topic, and I'm gonna this is like your positive vibe plus two. Something frustrated me the other day. Now, typically when something frustrates me and I have a second to myself, I kind of talk it out loud and say all the stuff that's on my mind, like why they gotta be like this, blah 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 blah. You know what I did? Instead, before the first word came out of my mouth, I started praying instead, and I started thanking God and letting God know everything that I was thankful for instead, because it could always be worse. We can find things to complain about each and every day of our lives, each and every second of our lives, if we would like to, right? But I had to stop and think about where I've been and what I've been through the last 3-4 years. And I was like, I'm lucky and I'm still blessed. And yes, I'm having a moment, and it's okay to feel your feelings. And heck, if you want to talk it out, talk it out. But I told myself from now on, when I get in situations like that, or I'm frustrated, or I'm angry or upset, I'm going to remind myself of what I need to be thankful for, why I should feel the opposite of that, despite it, still happening to me. I'm still going to be thankful and grateful because I have more good in my life than I do bad. And I just want to move forward with that type of positive mindset, because that stuff can really beat you up and really hold you back and hamper you down. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Of course. And I like that you're reframing and combating the negative with the positive. And I do want to do the segue into our last topic, because this was a perfect lineup of talking about the topics, because you mentioned the empathy for the kids.
Pause.
And I feel that... Whoop.
Pause. Hold on. I gotta call my mom. Pause.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to pause. We had a family emergency. Things are okay for now, so I had to pause. But you were saying, Erica, empathy and kids.
I'm glad to hear that. Yes, empathy and kids, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because it segues into our last topic about social media and TikTok, and also teen accounts. Because let's face it, Blue Ivy is a teenager, or at least a preteen now. And I mean, it's already bad enough, like, one, knowing that your parents are in this spotlight where people are waiting and almost like fiending for like some type of downfall. You don't know what she goes through in school. You don't know how many times she has to move to different schools and start all over again, because you don't know if there's crazy people who want to find where she goes to school, her sports, her like after school activities, things like that. So it must be really difficult to grow up in the limelight, and also all the ridicule that she did face as a child, because people were tearing her apart for being a kid and how she looked, because they couldn't wait to say, oh, Beyonce's child is ugly, this, that, the third. Like, so she grew up probably already seeing that type of stuff, and then for this to also happen, and you don't know if her peers are sending this to her. You just don't know. And I feel like this just ties in with the social media accounts, where I see where this could be a plus, is it shields her and from that. If she did have a teen account, you know what I mean? Where she doesn't see that, or her friends don't see that, the only time that they see it is if they're watching the news with their parents or something, but not something where they get to see the memes, the jokes, the laughs, the messaging from all these random strangers trying to find your account and everything like that too. So.
Very true. Sidebar before we continue into the TikTok thing, and I want to make this clear for the idiots out there. I am not giving equivalencies here. I'm not saying, oh, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and their family has it so much worse than anybody else. Yes, I am well aware that there are some families out there who are not even eating tonight, or haven't eaten yesterday, and probably didn't eat the day before. All I'm saying is we all have our problems, whatever level or stage that they may be at, some more extreme than others. All I'm saying is, as people, regardless of your socioeconomic status, you do have your own set of problems and issues as a human being, is all I'm saying. I'm not saying you need to be crying for them and all that good stuff, but I'm just saying we have to stop dehumanizing. I would say stop dehumanizing people just because they have what you don't. You don't know them. You know what is seen on TV and what you hear, but you ain't never had a conversation with these people. You don't know who died, yada, 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 so on and so forth, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what you're going through either. But I just wanted to make that clear because I know talking about celebrities and people who have money, it pisses a lot of people off because, again, some people think when you have all that money, you shouldn't have any problems. You can't have any problems. But if you follow celebrity news, you see them going to rehab. You see them going bankrupt. You see them going through the same stuff that people without money go through. So yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that. But to your point, the potential social media ban. I am for it personally, but I am older and I grew up. I have a unique perspective because I grew up in the 90s, and my generation is the technology boom babies, where we got to see before everyone had a cell phone, before everyone had an iPad, and that transition to where people had that. You know, I'm a Facebook baby. Facebook came out for college students when I was in college. It came out. I was in college. So I got to see the evolution of all these things. MySpace, what's the other one? Tumblr, Twitter, like everything. I was at the birth of these apps. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about before there was like a super duper app store. Like the birth of these things. Before that, you had to go outside and interact with people. You had to have their phone number to call them and talk to them, or you had to send their ass a damn letter in the mail. That's it.
Yeah.
If you had a crush on someone or you saw someone that was cute, you had to do enough convincing and talking to get that number. You couldn't get the name and find them on social media later. Also, like I've said before on here, I get it. This generation is different and new, and the world has evolved with them, and they're used to a certain set of things. But I will say, social skills are, we just talked about this before I hit record.
Oof.
Having social skills, knowing how to actually connect with people in person, and understanding empathy, resolve, couth, respect, manners, knowing that there's consequences for your actions and words, actually having to see someone react physically, watch them react to what you're saying and do to them, makes a big difference. Typing whatever you want, whatever's on your mind on the keyboard, and sending it to someone privately and never having to see a reaction or receive a consequence from it removes that. And it takes a part of the humanity away, which is why we're so desensitized. Even I'm impacted by that. I probably see more violence and murder than anything. The CEO we talked about earlier, his murder was on Instagram maybe less than 2 hours after it was announced. The video of him being murdered was just right there on social media for everyone to see.
His kids.
I couldn't have imagined his kids. I couldn't even imagine. You know, imagine you, his loved one, you at work, you don't realize what happened, and then people are walking around watching your loved one get killed. You're seeing something that's the way the news is delivered to you. That's the downside to social media. And so these kids are overexposed. And I'm going to try not to rant because I got to let Erica get her stuff off. These kids are overexposed to too much. They have the world at their fingertips, and they don't have the mental capacity to process it. As a 40-year-old adult, I don't have the mental capacity to process it. Watching a real live person get murdered in the street should bother me deeper than it does, but it don't, because I've seen too much. And I can only imagine how that impacts a kid at 10, 11, 12, 13 as they become an adult. It's a joke. Like, it's a joke. It's a game. It doesn't even seem real when it's very real. When you've been to some funerals or you've seen someone shot or someone severely hurt, it taps into a different side of your humanity. But continue. I have another point, but your turn. I don't want to monopolize.
I absolutely agree with you. Because I feel like the kids today are just exposed to so much more.
Yeah.
And there's also been studies showing that the generations up and coming, their emotions are so much different than ours, where they are growing up desensitized to a lot of things. They are growing up with a lack of social skills. They are growing up more susceptible and accepting to violence. They're just not, I don't know how to say, they're just not kids. And I also wanted to piggyback off of you saying that you grew up in the 90s. I grew up in the 2000s where there were dedicated kid spaces, kid
Yeah.
websites.
Yeah.
So it's like Pop Tropica, all of the video game Flash, Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, playing video games.
Yeah.
I forgot what else. Club Penguin, where yes, we're utilizing the internet, but we're interacting with like people that we may or may not know, but they're also in a kid setting where it was blocked if you said anything inappropriate. Your account got banned if you did anything appropriate. It was catered to kids, where kids had TV shows and movies, and also kids had, I didn't grow up where this happened, but there were like teenager clubs, and I'm so jealous if you used to go to one, because that was like something I looked forward to when I was a teenager, because I was like, oh my gosh, a teenage club where you were able to meet people and practice those social skills. You were able to see what's allowable in public, what's not allowable. Like you could see the proper etiquette for different things and these interactions, which would help, I guess, mature you as a person in a way. And it would help you in the future as you became an adult, and also social cues, because a lot of people, they just do not. They don't catch any social cues, anything now. And I just feel that is the teen accounts will be a good thing, because I remember being so upset with my parents as a kid, because I was graduating the 5th grade and I was going to a different middle school from the kids that I grew up with since I was like 5 years old. And I thought that I was going to be able to finally get a Facebook account. Everyone in my class had a Facebook account. My dad made me an email address. So he made me go to my friends and with a journal and have them write down their emails and their phone numbers. And this is back when house phones were still a thing, and landlines.
How dare you? I mean, that was prime time. Ooh, boy.
Exactly. On the cordless phone. Like, so I spent
the cordless phone with the static when you get too far away from the base. Oh my god.
Or when you hear like your sibling, or like if you hear your mom like pick up a line, it's like, it's like, hang up the phone. I was like, I already got the phone. But like stuff like that is, I was never like one to care about social media as a kid, because I was too busy being a kid, I didn't see anything. And then I had parental blockers on my TV, which I make fun of and tell my dad about to this day, because he had me watching rated Y7 and G until I was like 14. I wasn't allowed to watch PG or PG-13 until I was like 14 years old, like practically a freshman in high school. But it was stuff like that where I was just able to be a kid without feeling like I needed to rush to grow up. And even while my sibling, I was like, I had an older sibling, and whatever he was doing and what was going on was tailored to him. I wasn't looking at him trying to mimic anything, because there was nothing for me to see, And I think of when, I don't know when this happened. It's been recent, where they've just been stripping away everything that makes kids kids.
Yes.
So the clothing stores, there is no justice. Justice went under. I don't know where it's at. There is no celebrity. Oh my gosh, I used to love Selena Gomez's Dream Out Loud collection line in Kmart. It doesn't exist. Miley Cyrus collection line, it doesn't exist. Where everything was tailored to dressing as a kid. Now you have almost like a blending, where these preteens don't know if they're supposed to dress as children or if they're supposed to dress up as teenagers. And that's that awkward stage in middle school where it's like, I'm too young to dress like that, but I'm also too old to dress like this. There's nothing tailored to them. And I feel like these accounts will help that too, because it's just too many people mimicking what they see on social media. And I'll lastly end off with this. If we take away the spaces for kids to be kids, we cannot turn around and be upset with them for mimicking because they're sponges at the end of the day. We have to do better and we have to make room for them. And people always say that kids are unprotected class because they're just supposed to accept everything without anything in return.
Oof. Pardon my water bottle. You hit the nail on the head, and you actually, that's why I love you so much. You brought up two extremely important things. The space for kids to be kids. Like, I don't know when it became uncool to act your age or be your age.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something, I'm just going to say, as a 40-year-old man now. Your childhood, trauma coming out. Trauma, sorry, trigger warning. My childhood was traumatic. I had some dark times. I went through some dark things as a kid. And I wouldn't 100% say my childhood was ruined, but a good chunk of it was turmoil, strife, pain, and I was forced to grow up much faster than I wanted to. I was forced to be in survival mode when I shouldn't have been. And this is coming from someone with two college-educated parents who were married until they got divorced. But so just goes to show that, doesn't make a perfect life for you. But I had a very, if I were to tell people, everything that I went through as a kid that I can remember thus far, it was traumatic, and I'm surprised I've turned out as good as I have. I ain't perfect, but I'm surprised I've turned out as good as I have. But it saddens me because your childhood, Lord willing, you live a normal, healthy, average length of life. That's your shortest period in life. Mm-hmm. Let's say from the time you can really remember something, let's say elementary school, pick an age, let's say 3rd grade, to high school, mofo, that's it.
That's it.
You got maybe a strong 10 years, solid 10 years of childhood that you really remember and can enjoy just being a kid. And so much already happens because you're learning, you're growing, you're losing teeth, you ugly as hell, you handsome. A lot of, you know what I'm saying? You have no control over anything. It's a very short period of time, but it's a lot of special stuff that goes on because that is one of the times where most of us think anything is possible because life hasn't busted our ass yet. Well, I mean,
it's the innocence and the naive.
Right. Mine was taken from me far too long before I was able to express it and really enjoy it. And gosh, speaking of my trauma here, for those of you who judge people when they get older and you think they may do childlike things, sometimes it's linked to that. I've really been exploring that as I've gotten older. And I do love gaming and I love nerdy things. And those are some of the things I tried to and at times did enjoy as a kid, but never could fully indulge in. And now that I'm an adult, it's kind of like I'm feeding that inner child and I'm saying, yo, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Let me feed you a little bit. I almost bought a Gigapet not too long ago because I had one and I remember my teacher took it and somebody stole it from my teacher and I never got another one again. And I was like, that mug, it was a black Godzilla egg. I'll never forget it. And I was in middle school and that junk hurt my feelings. But now as an adult, I'm like, yo, I can take care of Robbie. You know what I'm saying? The young boy. That Gigapet was $30, so his ass stayed in the store. But I'm like, oh, these came back out $30. But to your point, that's why being a kid is so special. It's a short period of time and there are spaces and places for a kid to be safe in expressing themselves and safe exploring and understanding concepts at a young age that mature into an older age. Things like the DARE program, which kept us away from drugs, and those after school specials and TV shows dedicated to kids to help them avoid things like bullying or abuse or reporting when something bad is happening, or what friendship is, or what honesty is, or what respect is. That stuff helped. Like, I'm 40 and I remember those lessons from watching those Scruff McGruff, the crime dog. Bruh, I could go on for hours about the stuff I learned and that was instilled in me as a kid, especially since, luckily for me, I had parents at home reinforcing those same messages. But now this line is kind of like you go from kitty kid to teenager immediately.
You have to dress like this. You have to act like this. You can't talk to your parents.
And I think that impacts the young ladies more than the men, because unless a boy, I think, as far as males, I think transitioning males who may be exploring their sexuality, they go through a lot of that clothing thing. But like boys, we kind of dress the same all of our lives. Most of us, you may get the goth, and then usually we some type of t-shirt. We either fitted clothes. But now it's fitted clothes days, or baggy clothes, jerseys. Like, the spectrum has gotten wider for sure with time. But when I think about all the boys that I've taught, even from elementary to middle school, and I look at how they dress, the spectrum is not as broad as girls. You still have girls wearing like dressing age appropriate. Then you have some was like, oh my God, like you left the house like that. And then obviously you have the pajama children. But you can see the confusion and stuff like that. And then it makes me wonder, like, where are the parents? But yeah, it's a very funky and awkward stage, and we've said this on this podcast before with the whole social media thing. One, having teen accounts is cool because that is their going outside to play. I mean, that's what it is for them. But it keeps them among their peers and away from adults who do adult things, who have cars, who have access to money, drugs, and influence. It helps keep them away from that. OnlyFans, but
the girls that graduate right out of high school and do a OnlyFans as soon as they turn 18, it's like there's more to life than trying to get the lifestyle of someone who's 25, who's grown, who's lived, rather than you're a baby. You haven't done anything.
Nobody wants to work for anything. I digress on that point. I ain't gonna go down that road, but I will say, even with the teen social media, I would say it needs to be definitely monitored differently. Like, I think I've said this before, when I worked at a middle school, this is just a prime example. They started pages to make fun of people, and they would name it after the school. They would say, insert school name, butts. And they would take pictures of the teachers' butts and post them on social media. So you were taking the name of this school in a school district, a real place, and you're posting the butts of teachers as they walk down the hallway. You had another one called poo-poo, but they use the other word. You're leaning over stalls when people are taking poops, and you're taking pictures of them, and you're posting it on social media. Yeah. That's why y'all don't need no accounts. That stuff right there, y'all don't know how to handle it, and you think first of all, that's borderline sexual something. Whatever, I don't know the other word that goes with it. There you go, sexual harassment. But two, that's absolutely disgusting if someone's taking a poo and you want to take a picture and post it for the world to see.
Because they're obsessed with going viral more than anything. God.
And don't know how to deal with the attention. I just say this, social media, it just needs to be regulated the right way, which I don't know. AI is flawed because I've been flagged for things that made absolutely no sense just because I post a certain amount of sentences. Oh, you're trying to market and promote. Didn't say anything about following me. Didn't put my ad, nothing. And I'm like, this makes no sense. But it does need to be regulated, I think, and definitely closely monitored, because we've even seen after the fact when there have been shooters or children who have committed suicide, there's some type of cyberbullying, something linked to the internet or some type of account is typically present. So we just got to get a better handle on it. But above all else, parents, man, I understand it's hard out here. It's hard, people struggling, people fighting just to feed their family, but you have to talk to your kids and you have to pay attention to your kids because you are the very first line of defense.
You're the foundation.
You're the foundation, and Erica said it. They are sponges. When they look at you, that's their first those are those first lessons in life. You got to I'm sorry, you're a parent. Make that sacrifice. Maybe you don't need to go on that girl's trip or that fella's trip. Maybe you don't need to go golfing. Maybe you don't need to buy the BMW. You might have to get the Honda or the Toyota. You need to think about that child you don't want to wreck their life because you're just too busy trying to live yours. So, that's all I got really on the social media thing, man. It's gonna be interesting to see how that comes about. But I do pray for this generation. Just you got me thinking about that lack of social skills when I go to these restaurants and stuff. Every now and again, I get a smiling teenage face with braces, but it's usually some child with their phone in their hand and earbuds in their ear, just taking my credit card, swiping it, zero customer service. And I'm like, yeah, that's a fireable offense where in my era. But I digress. All right, I'm off that. What else we had? Oh, you had any other thoughts? Sorry.
Just social media. I really do hope. I mean, I really do hope that the teen accounts work out, because kids are just sponges, and you're just seeing the decline in everything, like empathy, understanding, social skills, cues, etiquette, all of it. And I would hope that the teen accounts does make this a little bit better, because studies are showing that the generations, they are getting just worse and worse, in my opinion. Sue me if you want to on that, but also don't sue me, knock on wood. But that and I think about my childhood, and I think of the movie Cyberbullying with Emily Osment, where that's what she's going through, where she's being cyberbullied to the point where she wants to commit suicide. There were Hallmark movies about, the pregnancy pact, where it was those group of girls who decided that they all were going to get pregnant at the same time. And then they had to deal with like the repercussions of that afterwards, where the boyfriends were, oh, well, we're like 16. Why we get pregnant? Or a Teen Mom, where you were able to see the realities of certain things, and it scared you away from doing it. Or I will always be Degrassi's biggest advocate that kids should watch Degrassi from start to finish, because it starts when they're like, 11? And it talks about the internet and someone chatting in these like chat rooms, and they go to meet their friend that they thought was like also 11 years old. No, turns out it's a 50-year-old man who now has you in a hotel room, basically, because he's like, what do you mean? It talks about the dangers of like everything. It talks about that. It talks about drugs. It talks about school shootings. It talks about bullying. I feel like that show just really captures everything about being a kid and going through puberty, and all the different instances and experiences that you may face, or that your friends, siblings, anyone in your life may face, and also what you should look out for. They talk about teen pregnancy, they talk about abortions, they talk about abuse, whether it's parental or within a relationship, domestic, any of it. So I really do hope the best for teens, because they don't have a space to go and be teenagers. Preteens don't have a space to go without their parents, because a lot of places have put bans on them for loitering. So I just hope it gets better, because I can't imagine being a kid growing up now.
I have a dream. I have a dream business that I would like to start. I'm not going to put it out publicly. But let's just say it'd be a dope social gathering space. An environment that would require membership, right? My idea was to have it for adults, but there could also be a teen version, or a teen day or something like that. But yeah, we need more public social places where these kids can interact, because like back in my day, and I know kids still do this, but back in my day, the thing was, when we wanted to gather, we were going to a field to play football, basketball, football. We hop on the bikes and we would ride bikes. Like, we had these set activities. We went to the skating ring.
The mall. Yeah,
the mall. And it's just like, the sad thing is going out is just not the thing. Like, malls are closing. These public places aren't closing. It's just like, I don't understand. Well, I do kind of understand the death of human interaction. Dang, I hate to use the word death, but that's part of it,
it's
right?
True.
Just people... We're seeing so much of that's the other thing too. the perception of the internet in real life. Like what you see on the internet, yes, bad things are happening and they do happen all the time, but it's not as often as the internet would make you think. The internet makes you think that if you go outside, all these things will happen to you. These are still isolated incidents. It's just that we now have exposure and we now have a camera across the entire world to constantly see these things, and they kind of instill fear. But also just a lack of mental health availability and accountability in this country. People are acting out in public and doing unhealthy and harmful things in public, which makes people not want to go out. Sidebar, back to the kids. School system definitely need more counselors in school. Definitely need to put more things in, like mental health needs to be part of the school curriculum starting in elementary school. And I've said this before. Y'all need to every school system needs to restructure when it comes to counselors. There should probably be 10 in the school. Like trying to have 800-900 kids and have 2 counselors, 3 counselors, good luck. Like how they gonna handle that workload and be effective? You know what I'm saying? You need to have people in there who can really, and I'm not knocking the ones who are there, but I know how hard y'all work and how overworked you are. And how that's a lot to carry with you, because when you work in the school system, 9 times out of 10 is because 10 times out of 10 is because you love the kids. If you don't love the kids, you ain't gonna last, even if it's only a couple of them. But all right, I'm gonna get off that soapbox. Yes, that needs to happen. That's something that we're evolving. Everything else, technology, we're making sure kids have access to all these things. They need the mental health stuff too, because remember, they're getting picked on is different than when I was getting picked on. We crack jokes at the lunch table. Some days I won, some days I lost, but guess what? It stayed at the lunch table. Maybe that joke floated around the school, but after a couple months, it was gone. Now, if someone catches you with a good joke, they post it, it goes viral, and now millions of people have turned you into a meme, and you have to relive it over and over and over and over, and not just in your mind, but visually. And that becomes your first impression to the world. That's vastly different dealing with that as a young teen versus, hey, this was an isolated incident. It happened. It's over. No one's ever going to see about it. No one's ever really going to know the truth unless they were there either. Exactly. That's vastly different than having your most embarrassing moment displayed in front of the entire world, in your pocket, and where all these people can message you and talk to you about it. So yeah, I'm done with that. Any final thoughts or any other topics, Erica?
No, because if we keep talking about it, I'm going to just keep talking about it.
Dang, you make me sad, man. You really brought up a lot of good points about childhood and all that good stuff and the good times. All right.
It's a lack of a third space. Even like, okay, I will say this. I am very much upset now that I am an adult that you think of these shows like Living Single, Friends, all of these shows about young professionals working, and there's always a place for them to gather. Or How I Met Your Mother, when it's people who work with their group of friends, but there's always a place for them to gather outside of work and outside of where they live. There is none of that here. I think of Moesha as well, but also granted, she was in college, but there is none of that. There is no cafe shop. There is no local bar. There's none of that where you just gather and you're able to meet new people.
Dang, you just gave me something. I think when I move, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make.
Please do.
Part of that is socioeconomic status, right? It costs so much to go out. And they don't want loitering. Yeah, one, it costs so much to go out, but two, y'all adults, y'all shouldn't be loitering. Y'all better be buying some food. Y'all got jobs.
That's what they try to use as the excuse. There's like no loitering.
Yeah, there should be, and that's something I think there's a lack of, but you got to balance it. It's like lounges. That's a good up north thing, but there do need to be like more lounges, even if it's like a hookah spot or a jazz spot or something like that. That would be dope. But yeah, you do have to make that conscious effort with your friends to like dedicate time to it. But again, the stress of trying to make ends meet, dollars to dollars, and then the social aspect of it, some people are just doofs and goofs, like it can be tough to actually like people.
And it's also tiring after working. It's like, I really want to be bothered.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. And then, like, you know, where are your friends? Because now, you know, in today's day and age, like, you know, you went to college and you probably moved once, maybe twice. But now it's like you stay pretty much close to where you went to college, or you go back home, and you spread so far apart. Like, my closest friends, I don't live close enough to them to do that kind of stuff. And then most of my coworkers, absolutely no offense to them, were married white women. I can't be hanging out with y'all. That just looks weird, and y'all don't need to be knowing all my business like that. Love y'all, but all right, I'm done. Okay. Message to the brothers. Brothers, simple, short, sweet. Pray about it instead. Acknowledge your feelings, acknowledge your thoughts, but pray about it instead. I said earlier in the episode something really frustrated me, and typically when I do that, I go on a mini rant in my car. Not on social media either. Good God, please stop doing y'all mini rants on social media. Everybody don't need to see everything. And I'm glad that trend, maybe it's because I've started a new thing on my phone now where I see stuff that's annoying. I actually say not interested. If I can click not interested, don't like, do not show, I do that now. I'm starting to see a trend where people are crying in their car. It was women. It was women. Love y'all, but it was women. It's just so hard out here. And I understand it's harder here, but I just really think it's weird to cry and record yourself about what you're going through and then just post it on social media to a bunch of strangers. You're opening the door for people to kick your back in, because that's what they do. But if that makes you feel better, and I'm not knocking you or saying you are wrong for that, I just don't understand it. And to me, that screams you need a different type of help or different level of help, or like you ain't got no friends or nothing. Like, I pour my heart out on this podcast because this podcast has a definitive purpose, and we're also over 300 episodes in, and these are topics of conversation that we're going through. But like, some of that stuff is just, I don't know. But brothers, pray about it. You know what I'm saying? Don't just be angry. Don't just be sad. Heck, don't just even be happy. Stop, those of you who believe, and thank God for just what you have and how good your life is. Just be thankful. And outside of Thanksgiving, just continuously be thankful, and don't forget to ask for it. Ask for what you want, and also be putting in the work. That's all I got for y'all, man. So, booyah. We love y'all, man. This has been a great week. We have some. I have an announcement in a couple of weeks. We may have a very special guest soon. We shall see. We're still working behind the scenes. Something special happening in the spring that Erica is taking the lead on. She done forgot. Look at her.
When you said that, I was like,
you remember though?
Now I do. I'm like, ooh.
You do?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you got time. I looked at it today and I was like, oh yeah, that's like in like March or something.
Yeah, I have the tab open. Okay,
you sound like me. I put the star by the email and I look at it every once in a while, and I'm like, eventually I'm gonna have to do this. But yeah, we love y'all, man. We love y'all. Follow us, FME_podcast on Instagram. We may not be on Twitter much longer. From My Experience Podcast on Facebook, and of course download Pass the Peaz app. Upload those recipes, look at my recipes, make some good food, man. And until next time, take care of yourselves physically, mentally, and financially, and we'll catch y'all. Peace.
Bye.